yourself with a reality. It's a dream, aren't you? A dream for reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration.
Yes, rise up, join in, raise the vibration. You got 3 different choices there, or you could do all 3. I love that theme song. It always gets me pumped up. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. Welcome, Tim Lawrence and Ninja Kitty. It's good to see you guys. I'm so grateful for you guys always being here. I mean, literally from day one. It's amazing. #live. If you are catching this show, it's Thursday, August 21st. If you're catching the show, it's 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time around. And that's when you type in #live, because we're live right now. If you are watching the replay, if it's not that time, just type in #replay, tickle the algorithm a little bit, let them know that we are here having some fun, and it should pay attention. The live stream of consciousness is brought to you by me and you, because if you weren't here and I wasn't here, nothing would be happening. So this is the intention of the moment. I love it because that's what it's all about. It's all about intention and being here. And tonight's episode is actually pretty special because I have been really feeling like jumping timelines, like energy is shifting, things are changing. I know for my regular audience who listens, I was talking about this even a couple of weeks before I went away to Costa Rica about how I was experiencing things, but there was this new level of experience, right? There was the physical experience, there was the emotional aspect to the experience, the intellectual, but then there was the energetic level of the experience, which was kind of a combination of all 3. It was like a feeling, but there was a physical aspect to it, right? Like you'd feel like your skin buzzing, like when you get a chill, you feel the hair on your arms standing up. That's like a physical sensation, but it's also a feeling. There's like a feeling is the only word I could use in human language to describe it. And it's just been an amazing ride since then, right? I decided to go to Costa Rica, which was something that I hadn't done in many years. I haven't gone away on a vacation like that and like literally pulled the plug, right, and unplugged from everything intentionally in a very long time, which is, I definitely did that when I went to Costa Rica, and it was definitely one of the most amazing weeks I've had in a very long time. I was dating my partner Janice for 6 years. We went to Costa Rica. We hadn't ever gone away. She had never gone out of the country. It was something I was really looking forward to doing, specifically with her, taking her out of the country, experiencing something with her. And it was just, it was a rough 6 years financially. We weren't able to do stuff like that. And in the last year, I've changed my relationship with the idea of the way money works, with the idea of the way life works, with the idea of the way existence works, and become really the creator of my own reality in many ways. Like, of course, there's a collective reality that happens around me, and I'm a part of that, and I need to pay attention to that and react to it. But there's a part of my reality that it comes from inside, comes from my own thoughts, my own actions, my own accountability. And of course, now my partner, who, as you guys know, when we were in Costa Rica, we spontaneously decided to get married, which is, again, part of creating our own reality, right? We were like, I think we were waiting for something. There was like, okay, we'll get married at some point, right? And it was just like, wait a second, what are we waiting for? Why don't we just do this and be in the moment and create our own now, which is what we're doing right now, which is what I'm doing right now with you guys. So thank you for being here. Whoever's out here, I know there's a bunch of people besides Tim and Ninja Kitty who just kind of sit there and lurk and listen and absorb, and I appreciate it. But say hello. I'd love to know who the heck's out there. I get surprised. People come up to me, old friends online. They say, "Hey, I've been watching your show," and I didn't even know. I had no idea they were watching the show. So say hello. Don't be afraid to interact. That's why I do the show live. That's what's different about this show than a lot of the cool shows I watch, right? Wisdom from the North and Alex Ferrari. Oh my God, why do I always forget the name of Alex Ferrari shows? Soul something. But these amazing shows, but they're all recorded, and this is live. This is us together. Next Level Soul. Thank you. Next Level Soul. And that, of course, is my love in the other room backstage. That's why that comes through, and it says the live stream of consciousness. Right. Say hi. We don't bite. We just love. So anyway, yes, I'm very grateful for 4 years of this. I've been doing this for 4 years. There's 200 and something episodes that you can look back on of these amazing conversations with these amazing people. And it's amazing to even see myself and watch the evolution of who I am happening over this time through these conversations. These conversations are kind of part of what I do and part of, what evolved me into who I am right now. And what is up, Eileen from Queensland, Australia? Excellent. Oh, you're up late, aren't you? Very nice. I love that. Thank you for chiming in and sharing your energy with us here at the live stream of consciousness, which is the moment, which is the now, which is everybody here. So I want to rise up. I want to raise the vibration. I want to have an amazing conversation with a woman who is now my wife. And really, it's been such an amazing experience over the last couple of weeks, just kind of happening, creating my own reality, creating our own reality. Janice moved in. We're living together. She's in the other room. Angelo is out there. A major shift coming, changes for our country also. Yes, absolutely. We're all going through the shift. We all are the shift. We are participating actively in the shift. You need to be accountable for your role in the shift and feel it and be it. Anyway, I always seem to interrupt my own introductions with my thoughts. So let me back up a little bit and reintroduce my amazing and beautiful wife and the quiet healer who's got her own amazing show. We'll talk about all of that stuff. Janice Tverberg, welcome to the live stream. What's up, honey?
Hello, everybody. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good now.
Nice. So you are actually not just my wife, but you're also exactly the kind of person who I love to have conversations with on this show, because you're a Reiki master, energy worker, and now recently you've stepped out into the public and you have done this amazing group reading, which I want to talk about. I'm so proud of you, and it was so exciting to watch you evolve from somebody who, I had only first heard about Reiki and readings being connected through our relationship. I didn't even know that was something connected, and of course it made 1,000,000% sense. When you told me about it and when I saw it. But this is something new. This is an amazing experience for you, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. But where do I want to start the conversation? I want to start the conversation with you in that, obviously you have your own connection with energy. You're a Reiki master outside of our relationship. That was actually kind of what brought us back together. Was you pursuing Reiki and needing some photographs, and contacting me to help you with that. But for me, I love this conversation about consciousness. What is consciousness? What are we? What are we here for? All of this stuff. Before we got together, was that a big part of your thought process? Did you think about that stuff? I mean, I know, like I said, you're connected to energy, but what was your thought process like?
It wouldn't say it was what is consciousness or consciousness is more like self awareness, more an understanding of something greater than myself and putting it all together because before I pursued Reiki, I was always a psychic medium. And I just didn't know what to do with any of that. So I've been very aware of energy around me from a very early age. I didn't know what to do with it until much later in life.
Hmm.
And it is that self awareness as well as being aware of those around us. And that is come into play my entire life, but especially in adulthood.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. Again, it's been really awesome to get to know you and watch you evolve and kind of come into the idea of your own gifts, more and more, and be encouraged by, people outside of, our relationship. Brian Orlando has been such an amazing, um, factor in getting you to actually do it. I don't think I could have gotten you to do it. So I'm glad that he was the one who got you to do it. Um, but so let's talk about how this all happened, right? I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into the story of, what brought you to Reiki. um but if you want to talk about it, I think it is important for people to understand what you're talking about with this self-empowerment, right? For people to understand that the world, although I see a lot of people struggling and trying to get through day by day and dealing with situations that may not be in their best interest, um, but we don't have to deal with things like that. And so I think that's an important story to tell. Again, I don't know where you want to start, but I know Reiki definitely was a big factor in you kind of getting to know yourself and finding a purpose, right? Because I know that you talk all the time about that's what you feel like you should be doing, and
Yeah.
that's what a purpose is, right? If you feel like you should be doing something, I mean, that's your purpose. So where do you want to start with that?
Well, I guess the always being psychic, I was didn't know what to do with things and felt crazy. So I actually went to an energetic healing with Pat Longo, and we recently lost Pat Longo. She's dear and near and dear to many of us here on Long Island, spiritual teacher and energy healer. And when I came across her and got that healing from her, it was very profound because she was she wasn't the first one to look at me and say you're psychic, but she was the first one to invite me to learn how to do these things in a I don't want to say controlled way in a bad way, but it's like okay, I would be accidentally reading people who didn't know how to respond, and
Hmm.
it's happening since you know 3 4 years old.
Hmm. Hmm.
And to have someone confirm that A, you're not crazy, that you're psychic, and you should be learning how to really hone this. But also during class with Pat, I would always give her a hug goodbye, and she'd be like, "Your hands are hot. You need to do something. You are a healer. Your hands are hot. You need to be doing something."
Hmm.
And I would look at her like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. My hands are fine." But it came up enough to one day she actually looked at me after class and said, "Your hands are on fire. You need to start healing people or you're going to start burning up."
Hmm.
And I had no idea what she was talking about. And I'm like, I'm here to learn how to use my gifts as a psychic medium and help people connect on the other side. But after that interaction, my Reiki master teacher came up 3 times. who was also a very good colleague and fellow student of Pat's.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I have a rule of three. I've had a rule of three since, I'd say, high school. And when Lorraine Austin came up a third time from another student who I'm also very close with, I'm like, I need that number too. She was like, oh, I gave Lorraine's number to Amy. I gave Lorraine's number to Denise. And I'm looking and go, I'm going to need that number too because her name's come up three times and she must be good. She does.
Mm.
And I went to, I inquired with Lorraine about taking classes, and she's like, have you ever had Reiki? No, but I need to be doing something with my hot hands that aren't hot to me. We'll get to that in a second.
Right, right.
And she said, well, why don't you come in? She goes, I'll accept you into class. You're one of Pat's students. You know, you come from a trusted source. You're not some random person off the street where I have to do the, Spanish Inquisition interview with. So I came in and I had my session with her, my first ever Reiki session, and I was like, this is what I need to be doing. If I'm going to be doing this healing work, this is how I need to be doing. This is what I need to be doing. And I started taking classes with her.
Right.
My first class was interesting because there's like this whole system. So it's kind of like elementary school, middle school, high school. We'll use that analogy. So you're learning the basics and primaries. Hi, Grace. Um, the fundamentals, and then the Reiki 2, you're learning how to practice on others, so it's more advanced. And then you have master practitioner and master teacher. There was four of us who went all the way to teachers. She called
Wow.
four musketeers. We were in every class together. It was great.
So that, I mean, there was definitely a calling there for you. You definitely felt like you had to keep pursuing it. So it's interesting that you were actually pursuing your intuitive abilities first. It wasn't. I actually thought that Reiki was first, and that the psychic stuff came from doing the Reiki. But you were pursuing like your intuitive abilities, and then Reiki came into the picture as kind of a way to channel that energy that was coming up for you. And I love that. And I know I personally have experienced your hands getting very hot when you do Reiki. I remember even the first time you did Reiki on me, feeling like, you would warm you would warm them up on a fire, or like, you would like warmed up your hands before you put them near me. And it wasn't even like you were touching me contact. It was just your hands were kind of near me like that. But again, energy, it's all about energy. And I think once people experience energy on like a physical level, right, where you feel it and there's a physical aspect to it, I think that's what really opens you up to be like, okay, there's something to this, right? And I think there's a lot to be said for the hot hands thing, because that is very physical. That's like, you could measure that with the thermometer. You can probably measure your hands. And
Jeffrey, my son, did actually, when my hands were really hot, he took one of those temporal thermometers that we all had during
yeah,
COVID, that we all have now.
yeah.
My hands were over 100 degrees, and I hadn't
Wow.
done anything. He's like, your hands have a fever. Um,
Physically, wow, that's physical reality. It's amazing.
and the first time it appeared in class, as I was getting to the hot hands, is my during our first class, uh, actually the beginning of the second class, we were all back in the groups in the class together, and we were learning how to do work on each other, and we were learning like the hand placements for others. My hands didn't want to go where she wanted me to put them. The person I was doing practicing on I needed to work on her elsewhere.
Right.
During share, and that's the first time I've experienced my hands ever getting hot. I'm just sitting there going, you want my hands on her ears, but they want to be on her neck, and now they're hot, and I feel like Drew Barrymore and the fire starter, and I don't know what to do with this information other than Pat was right. I still don't know why my hands are at her ears when they want to be on her neck.
But you were also feeling intuitive to move your hands into different places.
Yes, and later out, like as we were talking later on during lunch, and I'm the first person to say this, Lorraine goes, from now on. Well, that's exactly what happens. I was more advanced. It was kind of like going in high school. You go to AP classes because you're not too smart, but you're smart
Right,
enough to
right,
be
right.
advanced. She goes, don't ever. Now you go where the energy is. Now that's the whole purpose of the fundamentals, is to get you to the point of where you go where the energy is.
Hmm, hmm.
And that was very key for me because it was like the entire time it's like, can I just put my hands on her neck? And she turned around during lunch and said, my neck really needed that. And
Right.
oh, good, because now after lunch, that's where they're gonna go. Um, but that's where Reiki and intuitiveness and my skills as a medium come in,
Hmm.
because sometimes when you come to a psychic medium and somebody doesn't come through, it's because you're resistant. And I know this after many years of going to psychics and wanting my dad to come through.
Right.
It's like he wasn't going to come through until I was ready. What Reiki does for me is make the readings for others go smoother,
Hmm.
because now they're in a more relaxed state,
Yeah,
more
you've
receptive state to where they're going to hear the information that they really need.
yeah, yeah, you've explained that to me before, and it makes a lot of sense. I think, I think people, you do, and that's why I didn't do it tonight, but that's why I've been starting the show, with like just 3 breaths, right? 3 breaths is really all you need to, get some of the blood cells going, to get this physiological sense of relaxation, and just grounding and connecting. um, and I think that that's, Reiki is the next level of that. I think that we really underestimate our own abilities, to heal ourselves in general, and to just, and not even heal ourselves, just to exist day to day, right? Just breathing, breathing happens, right? It's not something that we have to think about. It just happens and we do it. But then we kind of get into, we've talked about the hamster wheel, right? You wake up, you get on the hamster wheel, so your breathing is just part of, like, oh my god, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, and you're breathing and you're not thinking about it. But meditation, or focusing on your breathing just for, like I said, 3 breaths, it's a whole different experience. You're really connecting with it. You're really, changing your heart rate and your blood and everything physiological. There's a physical aspect to it. um, I think that's great. So, okay, so you started by pursuing your intuitive abilities, but then you moved over to Reiki, which was still your intuitive abilities and your ability to connect to energy, but a more focused way to, I guess, train it on your client, or whatever, like whoever you're focusing on, whoever you're exchanging energy with.
Right. I feel that the way I work, it's both are innate gifts for me. I just didn't know Reiki was an innate gift, and I was like, okay, well, I've always been a medium. I've always been the Sesame Street song in my family, and now I'm not. I'm in a collective of people who are very similar, being that they're both innate for me, especially like we're all psychic, we're all intuitive. It's a matter of who's tuning in and
Right,
what is coming through stronger.
right.
And for me,
What's up,
it's
Nancy?
cutting through the static for other people. And part of what's cutting through that static is getting them calmer. And so a lot of people will come to me for Reiki and leave with a reading. And there's a lot of people who will come to me for a reading where I need them to be calmer. So I do a few minutes either meditation or Reiki just to get them in a good space. But
Right.
what they do is they work together. They like feed off each other. It's very symbiotic.
Yeah.
From I can do one or the other, but they seem to always meld together.
Right.
But I can read independently and I can do Reiki independently. I
Right. Well,
clients
I would
it's like, okay.
Yeah, I always like the experience of stories is that you've come home with where you're like, oh yeah, they came to me for Reiki, but I gave them a message and the message really resonated. It was like, and they even left saying, I didn't come, I thought I came here for Reiki, but I really came here for that message. Which is really amazing. I just want to say hi to Nancy and Jennifer who just joined our audience. Thank you so much, and I want to say thank you to the Sacred Spiral Network in general. Even though this is the live stream of consciousness, the Sacred Spiral Network has been such an amazing resource of friends and support and audience and people in Australia tuning into the show. It's just amazing to be a part of a connecting vibe, a vibration that's really connecting people together. I do want to talk about something that you said that's important, and maybe people out there who, maybe have had experiences as kids with imaginary friends or energy or whatever. The idea that you went and you were pursuing intuitive development, right? Because I think people don't realize like this doesn't like there are certainly stories of this just happening to people, right? All of a sudden they're getting messages and they've just tuned in, and maybe people think that's how it happens and oh, that's not happening to me. But if you can remember as a kid like having experiences that you may not have been able to explain, I think that's a reason to pursue this. And I think the idea there is exercising those muscles, right? Just like if you're into physical fitness, you have to go exercise those muscles to get the results that you want. So I think that if you're intrigued by energy and things you can't explain, you've got to kind of pursue that and develop it to the point where you can tune into it, right? Again, a good metaphor that I love is that radio metaphor and tuning into a certain vibration, and um I think that has a lot to do with energy and psychics and channeling and reading tarot, and all of these different things are all kind of different dials on the radio. Um, so anyway, so I know that, like I said, when you and I met, you had kind of just gotten into Reiki. It had really changed your life. Your life was kind of going in a new direction, um, and somehow that reconnected us. We were friends from 15 years earlier than that, having worked together at an ad agency, and again, we were just friends. But when we contacted me, when we kind of rekindled our relationship, our friendship, and I was doing photos and you were doing Reiki, um, we decided to go on a date. And it's been you and me kind of ever since. I think there was something energetic about our relationship that, because we were both kind of tuned into energy, um, it was a part of what brought us together. So what I want to know is from you, and not to put you on the spot, is how do you think that affected the last 6 years of our relationship? I mean, do you feel like it's been a positive or a negative? I mean, I don't know. I guess that's a silly question, but maybe.
How has Reiki affected our relationship?
No, just I guess just both of our connection uh to energy in our own way, right? And both of our passion about the way we pursue it and the way we see it, because we don't see it 100% always the same way. You know what I mean? I think mostly we subscribe to the same kinds of concepts about essence and being and energy. But I didn't pursue intuitive abilities the way you did, and I don't do readings necessarily. I mean, again, it shows up in different ways, right? So there's definitely times that I'm having conversations with people that my intuition kicks in, and I may say, hey, this or that to the person that makes sense to them and resonates, but that's not a traditional talking to a past loved one or tuning into that person's energy. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm not really sure what I'm asking. I mean, I know how I feel about our relationship. I think I know how you feel about our relationship, um, and it's pretty strongly connected to both of our connections to energy, right? And it's something that, I mean, I guess I'm. It's got to drive you crazy that I watch these YouTube videos all the time.
It doesn't drive me crazy. When you watch the news, it drives me crazy.
When I watch the news, and
Yeah.
then I get triggered, but I barely watch the news. I try to. You do a much better job of staying away from that stuff than I do, and certainly, yes, there are times when it sets me off on a, it doesn't last that long. I mean, it's like I go on a little bit of a tirade, and yes, it does affect me sometimes, but then I'm able to let it go. And Grace said, I had you at hello. I think she had me at hello too. We had each other. We had each other. I think, you know, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we don't really talk about past lives and things like that, but I think we both feel there's some sort of cosmic connection that goes beyond this lifetime.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, that is both in a poignant thought and intriguing. But if you don't subscribe to the past lives, then it's harder to explain. But yes, this this lifetime is karmic to past lifetimes. There's a lot to be learned that
Hmm.
must be learned in this lifetime because the contracts have been rewritten.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So let's bring this back. I'm going to turn this back around on you because some amazing, exciting things have happened. And I know I put this up. I shared it. I talked about it a little bit. So you have been taking this tarot class with Brian Orlando. And it's a cool class because I know music is an important thing to you. We have a similar history with music, and it's a part of our relationship as well. Um, and Brian mixes in tarot very unconventionally with music. And tarot was not something that interested you as far as I remember before this happened, or tarot wasn't something that you did. Um
Something isn't something that I had done. It was something that I was interested in, but never connected with cards.
you right, okay. That's that
Deck,
I guess that's what I was trying to say. So
decks
so
it didn't make any sense to me.
right, right. So tarot, the traditional kind of definitions and explanations of tarot and methods didn't make sense, but Brian introduced this kind of musical element where songs and artists represented different things in the same way that the tarot cards did,
Yeah.
or do rather. um, and so before we get to where that went, tell me about how that resonated with you. What was it about it like that all of a sudden made sense?
Well, that's funny because that question actually came up last night in class. But what got me to even join the class is Brian and I had been friends for a while, and he kept on asking me to join the class for like a year. It's like, tarot doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. I get messages, much like Grace. Grace would understand this. I get messages through music. So it's like, okay, I can resonate with the music. We
Mhm.
listen to similar types of music. So finally, I broke down and I started the class when they went through all 78 cards upright. I start the class when everything is in reverse. I was like, great. Um, so I'm starting to learn the cards in reverse versus upright. And the way he frames it, each card, he connects each card to a song that connects to him.
Hmm.
And that made a lot of sense. And so just letting things flow, it's like, okay, I'm looking at this. And what I began to realize, and a lot of it is I don't pull cards for myself anymore because part of the reason I didn't understand the cards is I was reading for myself and I clearly wasn't liking some of the things I was being told. So they weren't speaking to me because they weren't telling me what I wanted to hear. It's like,
Mm.
and I was like, I know better as a medium and as a reader that you have to be the mailman. You have to just deliver the messages. Sometimes you deliver the bills. Sometimes you'll deliver love letters. But just that is the information.
Mm.
Deliver it with care, concern, and compassion, but don't get involved. And when you're reading for yourself, it's very intimate. You're very involved. I've had clients come to me, this is without cards, and want to hear something specific and then get mad at me and every psychic medium has because you didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. You told them what they needed to hear.
Right, right.
So part of the reason I wasn't connecting with cards is because I was reading for myself. So stop doing that. You can't do that. I mean, some people can. I'm not one of them.
Right, right.
But what I've learned, and like I said, this question actually came up last night. He asked me, he goes, when did it make sense for you? And it's like, well, I don't usually read cards. I didn't ever need the cards to read. But what I found is that they're for the person sitting in front of me. This is
Mm.
just a tool. It paints a picture for them.
Mhm.
And what I've also realized is that whatever I'm saying, the cards paint that picture.
Mhm.
It just happens to be, coincides. I don't want to say coincidental because it's not. It clearly isn't.
Right, but you're able to see the messages that you're getting and the energy that you're getting, and you're seeing it translated into the card, so you're able to convey that to the person that you're sitting. That's
Well,
sitting.
they're able to see it. It's like,
Right.
oh, that's what that card means. It's like when someone comes to me, this was really quite funny. I had a friend who wanted a tarot reader because somebody who couldn't just simply read, she needed to see the pictures. Meanwhile, we're getting the information, but okay, you want to see the pictures.
Right, right.
And it was just that aha moment of like, okay, these tell the story for them to see it. They
Right.
don't believe me without the cards, so let's put them down.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. No, and again, I understand that, and I always talk about how to me it's kind of all the same, right? Like people read tea leaves, people read without items and people read with items, runes, there's all sorts of tools that are basically just kind of translation devices, right? Ways to get the message across, for different people, and everybody receives it differently. And I think that's important, right? And that's okay to understand, like, if you're looking for an answer and you go to a tarot reader and you don't get your answer, you'll get a message probably, right, that you're supposed to get. But I think there's just a lot of different ways to connect with energy, and I encourage people to, if they don't have a great experience or they don't connect, try somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, talk to people and maybe feel around to see what connection you can find.
I have on many occasions clients will come to me and it's like, I don't think I'm the one for you. And I refer them to other people. Or I
Mhm.
have a family that comes to me and it's like, I want a reading. And it's like, I know you. Go
Mhm.
to, I've referred my sister to Grace. I've referred my sister to my friend Teresa
Mhm.
simply because I know you. I've known you your entire life, unbiased. Go to somebody who doesn't know
Right, right.
you.
No, totally. That makes sense. And so I want to get to the most recent experience that you had, and I got to be a witness to. But before we do that, I guess I want to talk about my experience with you and watching you do readings one on one, right? Now, obviously, I'm not there when you're doing a Reiki session with somebody and you're behind a closed door, but I have been around where you've gotten a message for someone. Almost, I want to say, I don't want to compare you to, or in any other way. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but like the Long Island Medium, right, where you're just like, hey, I got a message for you. Are you, it's very important etiquette for a medium to ask the person if they're open to a message, and not just walk up and give them a message. These are things that I've learned about just being around psychics. But I've watched you become more and more comfortable with, one, getting the message, two, being able to talk to the person who the message is for about giving them the message in a one-on-one situation. But I know you, right? You call yourself the quiet healer for a reason. You are very quiet. And not to give too much away about our personal life, but I mean, there's times when you're talking to me in the same room and I'm saying what, and and you have to repeat yourself because you kind of talk a little bit low. So it had to be horrifyingly frightening to have the idea suggested that you do a group reading. Brian asked you to do a group reading at his book release party. He just released a book, Rock and Soul Tarot, which is an amazing book, by the way. I know you've been deeply engrossed in it. But tell me, let's talk about this whole experience from the minute that he asked you to do it, because I know even then it's like that's when the experience started for you.
Yes. So he is not the first person. Over the last several years, I've had fellow mediums, good friends who are also mediums. You need to be doing group readings. You know me, I do one-on-one. You need to be doing group readings, a one-on-one. Teresa's like, you're going to be doing group readings. I looked at her like, no. And she goes, yeah, you will. Marianne DeMarco, she is very, very well known. Oh, we'll get you out there. And I'm like very resistant. And then you meet that one teacher is like, you're going to do it with me. I am. It wasn't so much that I was given a choice, but not really. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's kind of like being on the debate team, but being afraid to debate. So you have to do it eventually. So he, it's like, you can do this. You're going to be fine. I mean, and class is kind of like a group reading. The collective group reading where it's very intimate. We all feel safe with each other. This was just more a full room of strangers. It was very interesting because he shared with me that he hasn't even read for that many people in one time. I was like, great, baptism by fire. Yeah. I found out after the fact, which is probably good. But it was one of those where it's like, okay, Spirit is clearly chosen Brian as the mentor to pull me out. And it was nerve-wracking. It's like a lot of encouragement, a lot of nurturing, a lot of everything's going to be fine. And I mean, even with my fellow classmates there, my fellow students, they're like, you've got this, you're amazing. And it's very humbling because it's like, okay, if you yourself aren't just a little skeptical, then maybe you shouldn't. It's like, if you think you're dead on and right all the time, maybe you shouldn't be in this field. I had Cindy Keza on. She's a well-known psychic. She was on the Dead Files. I had her on my show recently, and she said that in another way, and she said it in a very poignant way. Don't be so sure of what you're sure of. I'm like, I am going to steal that. She's okay with that because she stole it from her teacher. Yeah. But it's like, don't always think you're right.
Right.
And so to do group reading, my number one fear is to be wrong in front of a lot of people versus wrong in front of just the other person.
Right. But there, I mean, I guess it's hard for me to imagine that there's no real wrong, because when you're doing a group reading, it's the people who are feeling resonated to what you're saying, I guess it's a matter of just hoping that somebody's gonna resonate with what it is you're saying. um and they did, and there were quite a few people who connected to the things you were saying. I want to bring up the pictures from that event here on your Facebook page. um this is you, um looking very nervous with your microphone, looking nervous to me, because I know you, and I'm sure you know yourself, and you're like, yeah, you were feeling pretty nervous, but you also look very natural, right? You look you know like when I was watching you interact with people, it was very natural. It was the pauses that were the awkward one, and that's when you would laugh, right? Because you were like waiting to hear something, so you would laugh to fill the space. But when you were talking, there was authenticity and authority behind it. Like you were feeling what you were feeling. You were like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. If I remember correctly, you were seeing there was some Prince songs that uh I remember you brought up Raspberry Beret and some things like that. But there was also a moment where you connected with a woman who had just had a miscarriage. I believe this is the woman who
Yes.
had the miscarriage. Do you remember that moment? Do you remember what that felt like?
Um, it was very difficult. I mean, it was very good in giving her the messages, and it was very healing and cathartic, but it was also very difficult in the aspect of the way I get messages is the same way a lot of psychic mediums do through experience and having experienced having a miscarriage, knowing that kind of loss, and then finding a delicate way of not only acknowledging it, but saying, okay, the rainbow baby's coming.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. I remember that was a very deep moment, um, for everybody. It was kind of heavy, um, but but I think the thing that I love about it is there's always positivity, and there's always hope in these messages, right? Messages that come through are for healing. They're for helping people. So giving this woman the hope, saying, hey, you just went through something, but that's not the end. That was just really powerful, and I definitely remember feeling that through the whole thing. um and Nancy says, good for you to have the courage to trust spirit. We all know this feeling. Good for you, Janice. Yes, I'm the one who struggles, I think, in this relationship with trusting and letting go, with spirit, specifically letting spirit come through, because I don't necessarily let spirit come through me in that way. I will say I do feel, obviously, I feel very spiritual. I feel like I connect to people. I feel like, I have my innate abilities to just be love, right? To just try to live life and be positive, love myself, so that I can just be that example to other people, right? And I don't even know what I'm saying. I just feel like I start going on these tangents. But I guess the point is, for both you and I, and this is really something that we've been talking about, is coming into our own purpose, feeling more authentic about who we are and how we interact with people, has really allowed me, I can't speak for you, to again be in touch with the idea of, I'm creating my own reality by kind of deciding what it is I want to pursue, what energies it is I want to give and receive, and represent, I guess is a good word. um and that goes past the struggles, right, of day to day. Like, okay, we still have to work jobs and do things that are part of the system that we're in, but I think both of us are really finding ways to um make our own way within those systems. You know what I mean? And not necessarily feel like we've got to do it a certain way. We've got to, I mean, I definitely don't feel like I get on the hamster wheel every day. I feel like, yes, there's moments I'm like, okay, it's hamster wheel time, but it's very um intentional, right? I get on the hamster wheel, I do it, and then I know that I'm going to get off the hamster wheel. I'm going to come home to you, and we're going to spend time together. You know what I mean? I think that that's a big part of creating your own reality. You know, especially when you find someone who you align with. You know, I know the people out there who are in a good relationship will feel that, but and also it's also important to realize when you're not in that position, right? I think both of us have been through that, and that's what brought us to be who we are. Is having been in a relationship that maybe wasn't in alignment, but we wanted to be in a relationship, so we kind of suffered through it, right? To just feel that, I guess, that dopamine of being in a relationship. um but and Evelyn, yes, this is my better half. She is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. The thing about Janice and my relationship that's so amazing, and I can remember this, and this is still true to this day, is I just feel more and more attracted to Janice every day. As our relationship grows, it's like it's the way you hear about love and love should be, right? Is that every day it just grows and grows and grows, and it kind of disappoints me when I hear stories about people who are like, oh yeah, welcome to marriage, and they're like, they've got this idea like, yeah, once you're married it's over, and and you know, things get boring and stuff, and it has not been any of that at all, and I don't see it going that way. It has just been, you know, the love that we have, you know, to be able to wake up and say I love you and say good morning with the intention that we both do. It's it's such a blessing. I'm so grateful. You know, it really is. And something that's been odd is, you know, over the last 6 years, every morning I would text you or you would text me and we would say good morning. And it's now we wake up together and we don't text each other. So I'm like at work and I'm like, oh, I didn't text Janice. I'm like, oh, but I woke up with Janice. I don't have to text her, but sometimes I text you anyway and I say, hey, how's your day going? Um, so it's great. Ninja Kitty is saying my hubby and I will be married 40 years in January. Awesome, Ninja. That is amazing. Love is everything. I do truly believe that. I love getting the opportunity to even say that when somebody says they're in a good relationship or something. I'm like, I'm so happy for you because love is everything. And I love saying that. And Nancy, 38 years, thankful and blessed. Let's hear it for good relationships. Woot, woot, woot. I think it's really good to hear that. And like I said, it's like more than that. I encounter people going, oh yeah, how's married life? And expecting me to kind of, you know, be like, eh, but I love it. I freaking love it. And anyway, Powder Bands, Ninja Kitty. um, oh, Janice, you know I love talking to you. You know, I can't wait to lay down and hold you and fall asleep tonight. Um, but I just want to thank you for being such a brilliant part of my life, and I want to congratulate you on embracing yourself. We didn't get to talk about it. Evelyn is saying I was married for over 30 years. People thought we were newlyweds. That's awesome. Um, and Nancy, thank you. Our energy together is amazing. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know exactly what I was going to say. So my wife, Janice, one of the interesting things about the live stream of consciousness is I never planned it. I never expected to have a show, be in this little square, interview people, and have these amazing conversations. And it's turned into something really amazing that really, I think, right from the beginning, I think it kind of shifted who I was. It really added to who I was. It really changed my personality. It gave me more confidence in general to be who I am. Um, and I think Janice witnessed that. And Janice, who's the quiet healer, who's super introverted, without even really asking me to help, because this is what I do. I set up the graphics, I set up the show, I do all the technology part. She started her own show. It's called Unique Peace. It's on her own YouTube channel. The Quiet Healer is her YouTube channel. I should make a banner for it. Um, and and she started her own show where she interviews people. So the coolest thing that I saw when I watched her do this was she intentionally put herself way outside of her comfort zone in order to get better at what she wanted to do, which was Reiki. And she knew that in order to do Reiki and to get clients, you need to kind of talk to people. You need to have a little bit of, not necessarily extroverted, but you need to not be as much of an introvert as she always was. So she created this amazing show called Unique Peace. You know what? While we're talking here, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to bring up the Unique Peace channel so I can show people. And she blew me away as far as like being a host and talking to people. And she has amazing conversations with people about peace. What brings you peace? What does peace mean to you? Here it is, The Quiet Healer. Here's your YouTube channel. And again, both of us, through this idea of creating these shows and having these conversations, have had the opportunity to have incredible conversations. Eva Gypsy Love, Barry Mangione, these people that you're seeing on the show, Lisa Campione, I mean, Nancy Muratalla, there you are, Nancy. Just amazing opportunities. And it's just through intention and wanting to do this and wanting to be this. I've seen the Quiet Healer in the chat before. Yes, the Quiet Healer. Now you know the secret identity of the Quiet Healer. She does often show up. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff, in watching people have conversations and connect to people, and the Sacred Spiral Network, a lot of people do readings, and I often have guests on my show that do live readings in the shows. That's not necessarily what the Unique Peace is about, or the live stream of consciousness. It's really about this moment. It's about being here intentionally, being together, connecting with each other. I think earlier today I was thinking about how my mission must be to meet everybody in the world one at a time, face to face, have a conversation, because that's what I love doing. That's what I love, holding space for people. That's my other show on the Sacred Spiral Network. I love thinking about why we're here. That's the live stream of consciousness. I love connecting with you, people in the audience, just being here and interacting. I love connecting with my guests, especially when it's my beautiful wife. I just want to thank everybody for sharing their last hour with us. Janice, I want to thank you for sharing your last hour with me in this capacity. And I can't wait to finish our dinner that we started earlier because we had to stop dinner to do the show. Nancy, thank you so much. You're also very inspiring. It's so great to watch people really doing what they love, being who they want to be, and just following their dreams. Evelyn, thank you so much. Also for being here. I've loved your presence ever since you jumped into the chat room the first time I saw you, and I said Eveline, and I think I called you Eveline until Jennifer Rose told me that it's really pronounced Evelyn, and there you go. So but you were always so polite, you never corrected me. But thank you. And Nancy is indeed an inspiration. And Angelo says, great show, guys. Even though I feel like we were just babbling for the last hour, it's all about energy and intention. And again, I think that Janice has amazing intention. I think I have amazing intention. I think you guys have amazing intention. So when you mix that all up, it just feels good. So thank you, Angelo, for being here and hanging with us. I have been slacking a little bit on the live stream of consciousness, but I have also been getting contacted by some really awesome upcoming guests. So I have Regan Carruthers coming up, Lisa Zaretsky, Jake Chapman, Minty May is coming back. And I have this awesome guy, Tyler, who does this content called Base Forge. I cannot wait to have him on my show. He's amazing. And I think Janice froze because she's next to me.
The computer died.
Oh, the computer died. Her computer died. So she's here. And Tim is saying, I had met you before with Jesse, but love how close this live stream is, as well as your others have brought us together. Much love, MZ. Tim, you are also a super, super inspiration to me. You have gone through so much adversity, and you always come out with a smile and so much love and so much hope. So thank you for being here and exchanging that energy with me all the time. I'm going to pop Janice's frozen face off the screen because she's sitting right here next to me, and we are going to, I guess, wrap up this show. But your beloved next door neighbor pronounced it like that, so it was nostalgic for me to say Evelyn. That's just the way it looks like it's spelled. But anyway, Evelyn, thank you for always being here. Ninja Kitty, thank you for always being here from day one. The true OG. Awesome. I want Janice to come and show everybody her face, her beautiful face, and say goodbye. And I would want to say goodbye to you guys. Thank you for always being here. I really appreciate it, especially you, Jennifer Rose, and Nancy Muratella from the Sacred Spiral Network, coming cross network and giving us support. And looking for my outro so I can play it and I can say peace. See you soon. Bye.
Gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you a dream for reality. We're all